excuse me. I recognize Representative Cammack for 5 minutes. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member Fishbach, and to all our witnesses for being here today, as well as virtually. It's been noted here several times already that our agricultural producers and businesses are some of the most entrepreneurial, forward-looking people out there today. And I think it's important to remember that this entrepreneurial, innovative spirit, not government directives, is pushing American agricultural operations to make these new choices, like a dairy just outside my district that is making the choice to construct and operate a digester. Or, as is the case with one operation within my district, leading the way in developing a biomass facility to energy with zero emissions that can produce electricity, heat, and high-quality biochar and diesel from wood waste. In a state like Florida, wood waste is plentiful, especially after a storm. Not only can this plant operate connected to the grid, but it can also operate as emergency support for critical infrastructure when other energy sources have been knocked offline. In a state like Florida, a plant like this one and others can provide a lifeline for critical infrastructure in the wake of a hurricane or other disaster. As the ranking member of Emergency Preparedness, Response, and Recovery on the Homeland Security Committee, this is an issue that is very close and near and dear to my heart. Great synergy here for what we're talking about. This is a great example of private capital and innovation coming together in rural America to identify an opportunity that has the added effect of helping to protect our environment for generations to come. We need to find ways to continue to encourage this private activity and innovation. Now, I know that we've kind of circled around this and you've answered this a few different ways, but Mr. Iberly, and I hope I'm saying that right, can you talk a little bit about the federal policies and whether they help or hurt in the search for predictability in the marketplace as we're looking to finance these projects? And my follow-up would be the uncertain nature of future cash flows needed to finance a project. I know you've talked a little bit about this, and Ms. Plaskett hit on this as well, talking about proven technology and the pathway for stakeholders, oftentimes a pilot program, but just getting that off the ground. Can you talk about some of the challenges within financing and what we might be able to do to clear the path?
Well, thank you for that question, and Congresswoman. We've been involved in the space for a long time, and I was fortunate to be involved in the build-out of the ethanol industry by financing greenfield construction and new plants. From that perspective, the federal policies that are in place, really do put a floor on the business plan to give the entrepreneurs courage to move forward, and it also gives them the lenders more courage to share or partner with them on developing new technologies to develop that pathway. It may not be the optimization of that business plan, but it does provide a floor where they can address the capital needs and the liquidity that they're going to need for a successful project. And so by having federal policies in place, it does give them kind of a rock to start their foundation on for a successful biofuel or renewable project.
Is there particular programs in which you have seen success, and how might we be able to expand on those to make them better, more efficient, hit our intended targets, et cetera?
Well, the RFS was an example of one great one, because there was a market out there that was already built that needed to be served. And so they knew when they built the project that there would be a place for that product to go and be developed into the market. And so that was the stepping stone to build out all these ethanol plants across the country.
Thank you. Mr. Pratt, you mentioned that intermittent energy production can be challenging to grid operations. So what kind of activities do you undertake and equipment do you install to compensate? Now, are these mitigation efforts complicated, expensive, or both? And can you provide examples of renewable energy sources of energy where they come without the problem of intermittency?
Representative, thank you very much for your question. So yes, first, your second question first. Intermittent resources, renewable resources that are not intermittent would be biomass, waste biomass, as you mentioned. Digesters can be that as well. So you make good examples with those. solar energy is more intermittent, and so is wind. We also have thermal out west, and that can be also more consistent. So what we're doing is looking at different technologies like batteries and grid enhancements and controls technology to help mitigate intermittency.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And with that, I yield back.